have some bunny ears over here, okay, everybody? You know who's over there. My name is Grae. I work with a pop culture website called CBR. I'm so excited to be here because y'all have amazing taste in movies. And I want you to put your hands together. I can sense that this is going to be a hot crowd for our guest tonight. Our writer-director, Bryan Fuller. Bryan! And then, oh my God, so many ears! And then our mustachioed pillow, Mr. David Dastmalchian. Yay!
What a good crowd you guys were. Thank you so much for being engaged with the movie. Thanks for watching.
Just in the small amount of time that I was standing in the hallway, I was like, oh my God, I was watching this movie with stuffy-ass movie critics. You guys were amazing, your responses. I mean, I think that really speaks to just the power of this original idea.
Well, I think it speaks to the power of people coming out to support independent movies on a Friday night.
Yeah! So I think it's important that we start with a very, very serious question, and that is, if you were eaten by the dust bunny, what would you taste like? David?
Pizza, because I eat so much.
Pickles, because I'm sour. I'm a sweet baby. On the outside.
And so, Bryan, this is a really personal story for you, and
Yes.
and it shows.
Okay.
So the genesis of this idea. Let's start at the very beginning.
It started as an Amazing Stories episode, and we couldn't get pushed through the system. And so we were just like, okay, let's make it into a movie. And fortunately, they were very slow about making the deals, so no contracts were signed on it, and I just reclicked it.
Did this get made because you are you?
It took a long time for that to happen, if that were the case. I think it just got made because eventually there was somebody who believed in it at E1 and believed in Mads Mikkelsen as our star.
That's right. It's hard not to believe in Mads. You know, sometimes in my quiet moments, I like to just sit there and go, what is Mads Mikkelsen doing right now? You know, let's all think about that for a
I
second.
think about that all the time.
And so, David, you're no stranger to awesome scripts. And tell me about getting this one.
We were talking about it tonight because Bryan and I came over with my kids. We all wrote together, and it's a big full screen.
Hi, guys!
Biggest fans of Dust Bunny in the house right here. Yeah.
This movie's R-rated!
Take more children to R-rated films. If there's anything that I want you to take away from this experience, get more children. There's a couple kids out there. I saw kids coming in here. It's awesome.
That's great.
Kids
Go
like
on.
it?
Yeah, kids approval. We get a kids approval. Okay, great. We
We're
got
getting a
thumbs
lot
up.
of thumbs up. Tiny thumbs up.
Bryan walked me through the idea several years ago and the role that he thought that I would be right to play, and I was in. I mean, Bryan just doesn't matter what, you know, I think Bryan's one of the most important, prolific, imaginative storytellers that's been on the scene for quite some time, and I've been captivated and entertained by so much of the stuff that he's created. So then when this really incredible friendship for us was born over the years, you never know. You know, I have dear friends, some of whom are in the house tonight, who you go, we want to work together, but you don't know, like, when is it going to happen? And you hope it's going to, and you go, it's going to happen at some point when it's meant to be. And when Bryan said this, he told me the story. I mean, just the log line alone, I was, oh. But honestly, it did. He could say, I'm doing my take on the Jack and Jill story. They go up a hill, there's a pail of, I'd be like, I'm in, Bryan.
Yeah,
Whatever you're going to do with the story.
It's brilliant.
I mean, he's everything to me in storytelling. It's really an honor to be a part of it. Can I ask a question?
Please.
How come I didn't get to play the sunflowers? Did you shoot the sunflower scene in Hungary?
Yes, we did.
And did you know the song that you wanted for the end? And is that why Aurora's in the tiger stripes?
Yes, I did. Yes, she is.
Thank you. That's all I got. Good night.
You're really good at my job. Thank you.
Sorry.
Bryan, speaking of which, let's talk about our Aurora. Like finding Sophie seems like you're stumbling across a tiny gold mine of an
Yes, and that goes to all the wonderful work of Margie Simpkins, our casting director, who cast a very wide net. She's in the audience today.
Kudos.
And she got thousands of submissions and saw 1,000 auditions, and then narrowed it down to 20 that I saw, and then that was narrowed down to 12, and then that was narrowed down to 3. And Sophie came in, she was fantastic immediately. She had a very thick Scottish brogue. She's a good Catholic Scottish girl. And we were like, you're wonderful, but no one can understand what you're saying. No one's going to understand what Maz is saying, so no one will understand anything that's being said in the movie. And Maz saw her early auditions and was really championing, just change the story. It's like, set it in Glasgow. Like, do whatever you need to not interfere with this young girl's performance. And on her own, she went on for 2 weeks and watched TikTok videos and taught herself a flat American accent. And auditioned again. We were like, just take it.
Wow, I actually had no idea. I would never have guessed that. And so Mads felt connected to her even just seeing a tape, and the magic of the two of them being together. What was that first, was there a chemistry test?
No, there was, Maz recently had a granddaughter. He's got 2 more grandchildren on the way, and he's so good with kids, and he brings out such wonderful comfort with the kids. One of the smartest things that we did on the movie is hired sort of an actor's concierge. We talk a lot about intimacy coordinators for adults, but we don't talk about children's lives coordinators on a set in an adult environment that allows them to be children and also professionals. And we hired a former Danish child star to be her acting coach, and also just to help her navigate the adult world, because it was very important for all of us that she get to be a child and not stress out about adult things. And so Lena Cruz, who played Mom, was that bubble around her that made sure that she had a great time.
What a great environment, not only for your child actor, but also for everybody. It seems like that creates like a vibe.
They had one for me too.
What part of this did you feel really like stretched you?
There's, I come from the theater, and then when you get into an elevated set of circumstances in a tonal reality, such as what Bryan created in the world of Dust Bunny, the temptation for me in exploring the scene work, especially those initial sequences where I'm across the dim sum restaurant from this target of mine that I'm about to kill, but then there's this new obstacle in the way, which is such an amazing thing, by the way. How fun is it to play a hitman with conscience? And then the backstory we got to create about what is seeing this child represented, what is the spark? Did I lose a kid? Was there a niece? Was there someone that I was taking care of who got lost in the crossfire? So I was struggling a bit with the notion of, this world is so big, it's so beautiful, it's so vibrant. Should the, conspicuously inconspicuous man, how big to go? Because I felt sometimes my inclination was maybe to make it, pop it more or something. And it was so wonderful having Bryan, whose energy on set is so magic, he's so calm, he's so chill, and he was juggling 4,000 flaming swords at one time. I mean, it's indie filmmaking 101 in a foreign country with a crew that many of which don't speak English, with all these other obstacles he's up against, and a child actor and a shark. And it was, the thing that stretched and challenged me the most was it always comes back to this is trusting myself and trusting that, intention and energy and eyes can communicate so much more than sometimes what my insecurity tells me it needs to. And then when you're with someone who you love so much and who you trust implicitly, and he comes in and goes, no, you're fine. Just be still. It's really good. It was a good stretch. And it was a totally different character than I've ever gotten to play before.
What I was thinking about as I was coming here is that I associate you two with, as a fan, I'm always rooting for you both. For all these years, everything that comes out, and so when I saw this, I was like, oh my God, here I am again, transported to this amazing world. and like, yeah. So when I first watched it, I thought this has to be constructed by CG. This can't possibly be real. Most of this has to be fake. I can't imagine that he's created this world. I'm 1,000% wrong about that, right?
Not 1,000.
But like
we
999.
We had a massive puppet that was built by the fantastic people at Legacy.
Amazing.
And it was a lot of location in Budapest that gave us really unique Art Deco looks. But it was also, I think, the best moments are the most exciting visual effect, which is actors.
And those sets, like the apartment, the building, all that, that was on a stage in, Budapest. There was this incredible, like the walls that they built, and there's all kinds of crazy stories. We could go on all night about like how
Please do.
the halls were pretty narrow for what had to be accomplished. And Bryan was like, "This looks great. How am I getting a camera and lighting in here, and maybe some wires to put people up in the sky?" And it was incredible, and as a craftsmanship of filmmaking, but his attention to detail, as you know, there's not a shot wasted, there's not a second of frame wasted in this whole film. It's like, you're so brilliant.
We're very lucky to have an amazing cinematographer in Nicole Whitaker, who's also in the audience.
Where's Nicole sitting? She's right there.
Hi, Nicole! So really cold, innovative, always a yes and person. And what was wonderful about working with Nicole as a first-time director was that she was my big sister. She held my hand through the whole thing. And then when Dave showed up and Rebecca showed up and those hallway fight scenes with Dave, it was extra added love and comfort and safety when you get to work with friends.
Because I'm also like, how is this your feature film debut?
Right.
Like, I can't fathom it. I came up here and blacked out and have been talking, I think, but you guys probably have questions. Am I right? So.
There's one down here, I see.
How was a guy able to punch a guy out a window above him into another window?
Muscles.
Up there, yes? Do you need a microphone, or do you think you can?
No, I can help. Huge fan. We're literally watching Hannibal right now, and are just.
Yay!
I wanted to ask about the giant, awesome hippo that she's riding around. What was the thought behind that? What was the design behind that? Did you find that? Did you make that? Tell me about the hippo.
So the animal avalanche in the movie, chicken butt to panda suitcases to the hippopotamus, all started with Sigourney Weaver, actually. We were in our very first meeting about the script, and she's like, "I don't know about this scene where they're cutting up this guy and the little girl's there. You're gonna have to make the suitcase cute. Like it's gotta be like an animal or something." And then as that sort of planted the seed that blossomed. I'm a huge fan of the Lalondes. If you haven't discovered the Lalondes and you like the hippo, Lannes, I believe, French designers, they'll have like a rhinoceros that looks like a rhinoceros, but you lift up its rib cage and it's a desk. And so you're gonna be glad you did. It's super fantastical design. And so we modeled the hippo after certain Lalonde sculptures.
Wow, awesome.
Right
Thanks.
there.
Great.
Okay. Yeah. How was the writing process of that? You just mentioned that it was an episode, right? And then you put it into a feature film. And how was? Yeah. Did you first have images in mind that you wanted to, or like situations that you wanted to that you wanted to appear, or like did you plotted out a story first and then said, okay, let's put that in?
Well, the first iteration, when it was an amazing story was very much focused on the hitman. And we got to develop this with Steven Spielberg, which was really cool. So in the note session with Mr. Spielberg in his ascot and smoking jacket, he was like, you have to tie Aurora to her monster in a way that's deeply personal. And so that aspect of the story of it kind of being her rage bunny is both Spielbergian and Cronenbergian, if you're a fan of the Brood, which I am.
Why does Mads Mikkelsen's character why is he just intriguing neighbor? Why does he not have a name? What was the choice? This isn't really about their names. Why is that?
I think it's interesting that like the only characters that really had names were the women, Laverne and Brenda and Aurora are kind of the only named characters, and there's something archetypal about these characters in this situation that we were sort of homaging the pastiche of these films at the same time, and Dave being the conspicuously inconspicuous man. It's also sort of like fun to say and storybooky.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of trying to support or deliver a storybook feeling.
Who did you see, Dave?
There's somebody waving up there.
About the names, was the Aurora thing written in the script, or was that, it seemed like it was natural for Matt not to pronounce it.
Okay, so Mads read the script and he was like, "You're gonna have to change the name because I can't say it." And, I was like, "Yeah, we'll make it a bit." And then when he got to set, he could say it, so we had to ADR all the mispronunciations because he kept on pronouncing it right. So all of the mispronunciations are ADR.
All right, I see you there in the hat on that.
Thank you so much. I've noticed that you tie humor to death a lot. Just focus on pushing days again with like the candle in the water episode. I always point that out to people because it's so like morbid, but it's so beautifully humorous because like you have this woman impaled and looking like a fried egg, and that's so prevalent in this where it's like there's so much humor, but yet you're dealing with such abundance of death. Abundance of it. So it's like I always understand how you tie those two together so intricately, so beautifully.
Thank you. I think that goes to the heart of why Dave and I became such close friends, because we're both really sweet people and also obsessed with like hardcore horror, and the juxtaposition of like most of the horror people I know are really nice and sweet, and most of the comedy people I know are dicks. So it's not across the board, but that's sort of the balance. And I think I'm curious with you, Dave, as well as your experience with death as a child. Mine was always about adults making me feel comfortable with it, because I was probably too young to be at a funeral. So I looked forward to the funerals, because I was like, right on, I get to talk to my crazy cousins who will tell me about really weird Cronenberg movies. So I have all this sweet associations with death, and I imagine you do too.
Yeah, we raised really religiously, and recurring for me were, early childhood night terrors of the little Frankenstein little person that would come out of my closet, and there was a werewolf downstairs that would be in the fireplace begging me to help it help itself. And there was this giant, sweaty, hairy meatball that would float above my bed that would kind of imbue me with this like terror of infinity and like the concept of non-ending things, which was really hard for me as a kid who'd been raised with this very strict concept of heaven and hell and this idea of like eternity. And so with horror, I think I found this adoration and love and comfort in the absurdity of it all. And so the sense of humor that you might feel, I mean, certainly from Bryan's work, but I feel in myself is like there is a laugh or they put you in the padded room again kind of mentality, sometimes for myself, where like I have to kind of laugh at like the absurdity of all of it, and that we are these like very, very delicate and yet seemingly indestructible little meat sacks that just can spill all over the place. And also with this story, what I love about it is with kids, but also with grown-ups, who was I gonna, who could I talk to about those fears as a kid? If I did, I talked about the monster under the bed, or whatever the equivalent of that may be, who is gonna believe me? Like, who is gonna listen? And to this day now, I get skittish telling, my therapist certain things, 'cause I'm afraid, like, well, how's that gonna be perceived? So, God knows we all live with these dark, self-loathing, shameful secrets. And they can turn into giant monsters under your bed that will eat you if you're not careful.
And also to process that, you have brilliant talk shows where you lay in coffins with your guests.
I do, thank you. We have a new season coming soon with a very special guest who happens to be sitting right here.
Is everybody familiar with Grae Conversations? If you're not, seek it out. It's
Yeah.
delightful.
It is death and humor,
Yeah.
coffins, and Dave,
Alright.
and right there in the back. You.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, nice ears, by the way. You're like-
Thank you for the ears, Bryan.
The best.
Congratulations on your Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you.
So how much free reign did the actors have to ad-lib from the script? Was there actually, did they ever come up with
That
something?
he has this little stick. And when you don't say the lines right. No, Brian, you don't need, we didn't need to. I mean, it was there. So the only stuff that really felt, quote unquote ad lib for me at least, and I can't speak for any of the other actors, but there's the moments where the dust bunny's coming for us and we're up in the hallway and Brian would just say like, just go to 11 on this one, and then this one hold it back in more, but it was like, just say what comes naturally to you, so we'd start coming up with crazy shit to say that was, like, well, what would you say if there was, a 2-ton giant toothed rabbit coming to eat you? Yeah, but you were very encouraging of that kind of stuff.
Well, fortunately, we were filming during the strike, and so part of the reason I wanted to work with Dave and Rebecca in this sequence is I could just say, okay, I can't write. So you guys, this is all you, and fortunately I had 2 wonderful actors who are very adept at improvisation, and so all of that hallway stuff is them being great partners, because I was like, I literally cannot tell you what to say to honor everybody striking back at home. And you guys improvised it, and there's some of my favorite stuff in the movie is...
All right, one more,
Ooh, no.
and I haven't seen it, okay, I would, right there, and what, you see who I see?
I see you,
We
sir.
see you,
We
sir.
see you with the short
Yes.
sleeve shirt on,
That's
yeah,
right,
pointing at
and
yourself.
collar, you look very sharp.
Very sharp.
Brian, what inspired you to make this movie?
There's a twist.
Well, there's a twist on that one. That's what I never thought of, but I really appreciate
That's
that.
exciting.
What inspired me to do the movie? Was that Dash? Good question, Dash. You're sitting next to a very lovely dad, and I'm sure you wouldn't wish anything bad to happen to him, but I could not share that sentiment with my own. So you got a good one.
Cherish the good one, and yeah. And now, that was the second to last, and now, there we go.
My question really is, like Bryan, and for my question for Bryan, David, I saw the Street Fighter trailer drop yesterday.
Which looks awesome.
I guess my question for Bryan is, like, so much of your work has been so inspired when it comes to the use of color, and I'm really just starting to see, like, color just kind of disappear from a lot of mainstream movies, or at least that's my perspective, and I'm just wondering, I know this was done like Hungary and all that, but was there a little bit of a push from certain areas where people were like, I think we need to tone the color down, and kind of fought for that? I'm kind of curious.
What was wonderful about working with Nicole on this movie is that she loved color as much as I did, and we were looking for ways to enhance it. And also, it sounds reductive, but I'm just a good old Wizard of Oz loving homosexual who has some bright colors and some vivid realities.
That's a great answer.
That's how we're gonna wrap this
kids that make some pizza. You guys, are there any dust bunnies under the bed? No.
Please go home, share your reactions on social,
Please.
encourage your friends to come out this weekend, buy another ticket.